my resignation from SPLM IG, IT-GONU, and declaration to join SPLM IO under the leadership of
Viva!
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 I read again, my resignation from SPLM IG, IT-GONU, and declaration to join SPLM IO under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Riek Machar Teny Durgon. Your Excellency, after deep reflection and soul-searching on the privilege of prevailing political and transitional processes and the need to secure the future of the Republic of South Sudan and the Greater People Administrative Area, GPA, we have decided to tender our resignation from SPLM IG, IT-GONU, with effect from April 1st, 2024. Dear colleagues and media houses, I want to draw your attention to the May 9, 2014 agreement between South Sudan Democratic Movement / South Sudan Defense Army Cobra factions and the government of the Republic of South Sudan, which ended 4 years of political violence in the Republic of South Sudan and Jonglei State in particular. The political violence that erupted after 2010 election was rooted in the political, social, and economic structures of society and the government of Southern Sudan by then during 2010 general election. The SPLM decided to use SPLA and the other organized forces in Jonglei State to rig elections. The leaders of SSDM were intimidated, beaten, harassed, and jailed. This led to the political violence in the Jonglei State, leading to widespread systematic killing and destruction of property and livelihood of the citizens of Greater People. So there was no any transition justice or any effort to alleviate humanitarian situation on the people affected by the war. GPA today remains one of the most impoverished, isolated, and underdeveloped communities in South Sudan with no any government service or infrastructure. We would like to underscore, apart from establishment of Greater People Administrative Area, GPA, and integration of former Cobra factions into the SPLA, other terms of the May 9th agreement have not been implemented. Notwithstanding with the lack of implementation of May 9 agreement, we have always hoped for better days for our people. We thought that the implementation of agreement on resolution of conflict in the Republic of South Sudan access 2015 and access 2018 shall result into inclusive and durable peace in South Sudan. This hope was shattered with the RXS collapse in 2016 before our very eyes. And now the RXS is under the severe violence and threats of being derailed or abrogated. There has been a lack of political will on the side of government of South Sudan to implement the May 9 agreement and the other agreements. And this is affecting the lives and the prospect for peace and development in the Republic of South Sudan. We cannot now stand by and watch the country descend into the abyss. So the people of South Sudan deserve better lives, anchored on peace, justice, and prosperity. So the current governance crisis and living condition of South Sudan is totally unacceptable. This has been exacerbated by the absence of governance in the countrysides. So the lack of political will to implement reforms in critical sectors and promote peace, security, unity, and reconciliation in the country is an indication that the worst is yet to come. Unless the negative politics are retracted. We would like to highlight the failures of the SPLM-led government since independence. These failures have been a source of contentions and disagreement that divided the party that once was a beacon of hope and aspiration for the marginalized people of South Sudan. There are those who are feasting on the suffering of people of South Sudan, and they insist to promote their selfish interests at the expense of the other people and the states. And they have become very powerful and wealthy. So these individuals have increased in number, strength, and around the office of president to extend that they have captured organs and major sectors of the states and government. They have reduced SPLM IG to an organized conspiracy and violent tribal organization, rendering the party's organs and structures meaningless, dysfunctional, and visionless. The failure to arrest this form the state-sponsored conspiracy. South Sudan have been faltering and bleeding and shall continue to do so due to the following reasons. One, so the loss of visions and ideological directions. The SPLM has failed to deliver on the promises for South Sudanese independence. Since independence, the condition of living in South Sudan has deteriorated even worse than when we were in the bush or in the old Sudan. This has left our citizens questioning the purpose of the struggle for independence of South Sudan, whether we still have that objective to be achieved or it has been a loss. Then what would be your alternative? Two, the SPLM has failed to govern and provide security throughout the country. The semblance of the government is only seen in Juba and state capitals beyond.
Viva SPLM IG, viva! Viva! Viva SPLM IG, viva! Viva! Viva South Sudan, viva! Viva! Viva Dr. Machar, viva! Viva!
Beyond the capitals, South Sudanese still live in their natural states within their tribal communities. There is prevalence of subnational violence throughout the country, occasional clashes with the government forces, and community is the order of the day. South Sudan was more peaceful and united during war for independence than today. We are asking what went wrong. We have found the answers in the failure of the SPLM IG and the poor governance. 3, endemic tribalisms and ethnic tendency. In the system of the state and the government, the principle of citizenship, merit, and competency has been reelected. The meaning of new state is being questioned by the marginalized and deprived communities of South Sudan. There are sectors and office of government which appears to be served for certain communities. SPLM has failed to forge and promote equality, common identity, and nationhood in South Sudan. We have therefore decided to withdraw our confidence and effort from SPLM IG so that we are not part of any political force that is seeking to perpetuate inequality, tribalism, and ethnic bigotry in the country. 4, the SPLM IG insistence to pursue the policy of dictatorship and the lack of constitutionalism. There is no respect for the rule of law and the constitutionalism throughout the country. Excessive use of force by the security organ are violated and suppress human rights and freedom of the citizen and subjugated them into fear and false submission. Prevalence of extrajudicial killing goes unpunished. There are millions of South Sudanese who prefer to live in foreign countries instead of their own country, but the government has also taken them as enemies of the state. 5th, endemic poverty and underdevelopment. After the taking our destiny into the hands in 2011, South Sudan has receded into the abject poverty despite the million of barrels of oil per year being sold. South Sudan is among the top on the list of world's poorest country with a small population. The government is unable to provide services and development for the citizens. So the country continues to rely on humanitarian aid, misappropriations of resources, and corruptions are the main causes of underdevelopment and poverty in the country. 6, endemic corruption with impunity. The country has not been able to come down from pinnacle of world's corruption country. What has surprised us is that those who are corrupt in South Sudan are known and are there. Most privileged and rewarded with more appointments instead of being punished. You can see the contradiction. 7, reneging on the implementation of the agreement, it is fair to conclude that SPLM IG is only good in signings and violating peace agreements.
Ayo viva! Viva! Ayo viva! Viva! Yau Yau viva! Viva! Ayo Garisha! Uriya salam adala! Ayo Garisha! Uriya salam adala! Ayo Garisha! Viva! Viva! Dr. Machar viva! Viva! Yau Yau viva! Viva! South Sudan viva! Viva!
There is a serious lack of political will to implement agreements by the SPLM IG in South Sudan. The main 9 agreements on resolution of conflicts in Jonglei State, the R Access of 2015 and R Access of 2018 have suffered countless violations without redress. The ongoing calls and insistence by the SPLM IG to conduct premature elections in December 2024 is all about the logic to refuse to implement the R Access and abrogate it altogether.
Viva SPLM viva! Viva! Viva South Sudan viva! Viva! Viva Dr. Machar viva! Viva! Viva General David Yau Yau viva! Viva!
In the light of the above, we have decided not to allow our country to go down the drainage. We have no any other country to call home, and we only live once in generation. We have decided to join hands with the comrades or compatriots of SPLM-IO to implement the R Access, and by throwing our weight to ensure peaceful and democratic transition to the new political dispensation. That shall put an end to the current regressive and repressive system which was established soon after the Comprehensive Peace Agreement 2005 was signed. This declaration neither affects the status of Greater People Administrative Area as such as become part and parcel of transitional constitutions of the Republic of South Sudan as amended 2011, nor South Sudan Defense Forces who have been integrated into SSPDFs. Ayo viva! Viva! Dr. Machar viva! Viva! Kulena viva! Viva! I have stated a number of reasons why I switched my allegiance from SPLM IG, Aitigonu, to SPLM IO under the chairmanship of His Excellency Dr. Machar. I have stated a number of reasons in the statement. One is, remember in 2014, we had an agreement between government of the Republic of South Sudan and our own movement. It was by then SSDM, Cobra Factions. And of course, there were a number of modalities that we agree upon to be implemented. And I remember, I think our old man, Abilaler, said, you know, South Sudanese are good in dishonoring the agreements, and it become part of our culture. You know, that agreement that we made in 2014, nothing has been materialized. If you go to the area of Greater People, it has remained the way it has been created by God. I believe God has created it beautifully with a good number of trees. Even those natural trees currently have been cut down, and there was nothing replaced yet. Historically, the first town that has been captured, it is Boma. And I believe it is there part of our history. If you go to Boma now, you will never see any tukul of the grass thatch being erected there. The ground has just remained, and it has actually fallen into ruin. There's no any school, there's no any health facility, there's no any road connectivity, and there's no any peace dividends existing in the area. It was just a waste. You know, we signed our agreement with the government in the pretext that the government is going to implement all this for the people of our communities, the communities that live in Greater People Administrative Area. But since we came in up to now, there's nothing that has been stipulated in the agreement implemented. This is one of the reasons. You know, I came to government because of the agreements. So if my agreements on behalf of my people is not implemented, then what is the reason of being in the government? Okay, you come to house, I think you come to house in order to sleep comfortably. If the house turned to be a house of mosquito breeding, I don't think that. I don't think that you can force yourself to be there. Two, colleagues, there was high hope of all South Sudanese when they broke out from 1983 that we have a number of objectives to achieve. That's why most of our youngsters have been sent across by late Dr. Jones and the system of the SPLM, SPLA in the bush before. Those who managed to finish their school using their own endeavors have come back to the country, and they are loitering around the country. They are not recognized. They are not given any job to do, especially the young generation. This is one of the reasons I'm not happy with. And that movement, I believe by then there were a number of Red Army, GHL, who have been shedding their blood so bitterly. You know, one of the generals says, so we liberated this country, and our blood fill a big bucket. We fill a good number of buckets with our blood. That was the saying of one of our generals. But I believe a blood of Red Army fill a number of containers, not a bucket. No one talks about this. If you see this current institution that existing in the country, I think you will only find the head of the institutions heading the national institution from Ohio. From Haji side, it is all occupied by the whole men and whole women. Then what is the reason of being there? I actually, this has answered the second question. I have come to join with my colleagues. I have seen all your faces of my age. They said the birds of the same feathers flock together. And of course, Ohio has never taken the lead of the country. We are just an opposition party, which we have aspired to topple the leadership of this country, and we must take the lead of this country not through the violent way, but through a peaceful, free and fair elections. The second journalist I have stated a number of issues of concerns in the statement that the government of IG, Gonu, exercise a lot of negative characters. I listed a good number of them: tribalisms, nepotisms, corruptions, and the list is so long. If you want us to finish the whole day listing them, we can list it. We still have a good number of them. So, and you said, are there not these issues practiced in also Ohio? Ohio has no any leadership. The leadership of Ohio has no any power over the resources and over the control of the country. I'm sure if you come to a home and you find a lot of chaotic arrangement, you will go definitely to the head of the house. You don't need to ask the kids. You have to ask the head of the family. He's the one responsible for all this chaos in the house. So what are we going to do? Definitely we are going to put to an end all these negativities and reforms and bring South Sudanese as one people, one nation. That's why we come here. That's the reason we want to go in Ohio. So the CC review, what was your question of concerns? What was the question of your concerns?
Okay, my question was about you have switched your allegiance to the SPLM.
I remember you said the country is in the process of roadmap, and there are a lot of the other things to be put in place. My switching of allegiance from IG to Ohio, that is not going to affect this process. That was your concern. I think it's going to support. It doesn't derail it. In fact, it's going to support. Because these people, the Ohio party, it is the one for the positive part. It is the one is speaking for the national agenda of the Republic of South Sudan. That's why, up to now, they are making sure that every metric, every agenda that it is there in the stipulation must be implemented. And the IG wanted to skip and do it their own shortcuts. This is what we don't accept. So my joining to Ohio will actually boost these concerns, and we will move together to make sure that everything written there for the good of this country and these people must be implemented. Thank you so much. Representatives of the government officials, especially from Ohio, and all the listeners, once again, allow me to briefly answer those questions that were posted. Let me use a bottom-up approach. You said, why is it difficult for both IG and Ohio to join together so that they can harmonize and resolve all these ongoing crises in the country in regard to our access and all the agreements that have been agreed. Why is it difficult to make it happen? I cannot give a correct answer because this could be responsibility of President Kiir and the first Vice President, Dr. Yau Yau. They are the ones plus the signatories, the grantors of the peace agreements. So they are the ones responsible for all this. I think these have nothing to do with Yau Yau. We are all us. But literally, I think IO tries hard to make sure that the stipulated agreements are all implemented without leaving one behind. But I believe with the rigidity of the IG, you know, if you drive and the car so it's stuck and it doesn't want to move, I don't think that you can have any alternative to make. There's a driver in the car, but he doesn't want to start the car well, and he told us to push. Then how can you push the car that the driver does not put the gear on? Very difficult. Literally, it is very difficult. You know, this country is been led by the government, and the government is still leading up to now. So if it reviews any amendments, any reforms, so what do you expect the passengers to do? So I think we will wait and wait until we, all the passengers, will decide to find another new driver or do something else. I believe those endeavors, there are a good number of new political parties that are coming up. The young graduates and the brilliant South Sudanese are actually coming up. By seeing those indicators, it shows that a signal of reforms is underway. So I'm sure we will arrive into the destinations. So there is a problem with the driver. The driver does not allow us to move the car to the destination that we want. So the other thing, the issue of Cobras and the other colleagues who are with me, we are not forming a new country. We are just a party. We are just one nation under one leadership and one army. We don't have a different armies. We only have one army. Only that if it was not this issue of hesitation to implement all the issues, the security issues and the power sharing and the rest, I think by now we will have a one national army. So Cobra have been already integrated into SPLM a long time ago. I have nothing to do with them. So they are national army. They will follow up all their issues in the national army. The grievances, the discrepancies which we are not happy with, this is our political parts that we want to address without the involvement of the army, unless we are expelled to. Otherwise, Cobra is already serving in the country and in all the different capacities. So they will remain as the national army. They will serve South Sudanese wherever they are assigned to. So I don't have anything with them. So what was the other questions? Once more, how many members do I have to come with? You know, you guys are so quick. Upon our arrival, somebody sent there and say, the Greater People Administrative Area is going to be painted blue. The whole Greater People is going to be painted blue. I believe the whole GPA is going to be painted blue. I don't have any specific number to specify. You will see. Thank you so much.